You know, workmen Nubian camp. They are the one who demanded their inclusion at the expense of the ailing Tabitha Kumalo. Her return was not endorsed by Nelson Chamisa. That's a lie. Coupe was fought on.
achijagula tuma factions
saka mheno kuti
vana mutasa nanani vanga vatotiza ndini ndakazvisara ndikabata
I'll be doing. That's no scratch our head.
He really was sincere about meeting them.
Masquera say, Mure Zimbabwe, welcome to our channel, Zim Confessions and Deep Secrets. Kanagarike kutanka kukuya in the channel, please don't forget to subscribe. Kanochingoa garo ka subscriber, don't forget to comment and share this video. Nasi Mure Zimbabwe tapigirai nyaya, yabuliswa na Nelson Chamisa pamwechete na job Sikhala vabuda vachitaura mushure mekunge pane ma opposition members akaenda kupike farm kwa President Emerson Mnangagwa apo pavakanosvika vachinotaura nyaya extension yaPresident Emerson Mnangagwa. Ndofunga vashabangu vakabuda vachitaura vachiti Mnangagwa is a good leader and not deserve kualawiwa kuti varambe vari muoffice beyond 2030 muri Zimbabwe. Nyaya yakabuditswa ne ZW News vachitaura vachiti President Emerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa today hosted members of parliament from both parties, Citizens Coalition for Change and ZANU-PF at his cricket farm in Kwekwe. This comes amid loud calls for national dialogue to extend 2028 elections from both parties to allow him to finish his Vision 2030. Speaking during the tour, CCC Secretary General Sengezo Shabangu said Mnangagwa is a good leader and deserves to be allowed to remain in office beyond 2030. Addressing legislators, 300 MPs and senators at Mnangagwa's cricket farm in Sherwood, Kwekwe this afternoon, Shabangu, who positions himself as CCC leader in parliament, said Mnangagwa can continue in power if it makes Zimbabweans happy. If our presence here improve your stay in power and that makes the people of Zimbabwe happy, then let it be, Shabangu said. Meanwhile, former Citizens Coalition for Change President and founder Nelson Chamisa says, be true in life. Never sell your soul to evil. Never trade your heart for anything. Never be controlled or captured. Money or power is not everything. Integrity is. Blessed Sunday, said Nelson Chamisa. Zinakugumira ipapo, one of my supporters of Nelson Chamisa, Kudamsa Siwa, responded to this text ya Chamisa Kabuda. I supported CCC and those sellouts at the farm because I believed in you. Nelson Chamisa reply, I appreciate all the support. I am really saddened by the betrayal and undermining of you, the citizens' trust. Once again, your effort is not without utility. We soldier on. Ndozokataurwa na Chamisa muri Zimbabwe. Tingazive kuti munoiona sei, is there still hope opposition kana kuti opposition yaparara va job Sikhala vakabudawo futi vachitaura pamusoro pevisit iyoyi by ZANU-PF supporters vakabuda vachitaura ivo vachiti from the day you visit cricket farm pretending to be opposition must be the day you must know that we will treat you the way we treat ZANU-PF. You are the enemy of the people and you must be treated as such. And Ramberi actually the cricket farm visitors are never opposition members. They are planted puppets whose agenda is to advance the nefarious agenda of 2030. They are comfortable with the sellout deal as long as they will be eating with selling out our allies. On and at the expense of the masses, they will appear before their master pretending to be representing the people when their agenda is just eating. As long as their stomachs are full, the masses can go to hell. It is now time when the electorate, who these people pretend to represent, ask them questions of whose interest they were representing at cricket farm. The legitimate owners of power are the masses. They have got the right to question those who purport to represent them. Anogumira zvakare ipapo that these guys must be told that whatever they say kuda kufadza mutengi wedoro won't help them. There is a general consensus among all the general masses of our people that the 2030-2033 agenda is nonsense. This must get into their thick heads. You chant ZANU-PF slogans and you want to tell us that you have not sold out to the devil. This is unprecedented. Dear Zimbabweans, this is conspiracy against our country to subvert the constitution and advance selfish interests on the back of the suffering masses. Those vakataura naJob Sikhala muri Zimbabwe pamwe chete naNelson Chamisa tisingazive kuti munoiona sei nyaya iyi. Tiudzei zvamuri kufunga mucomment section.
ndo vanhu vamaida kuita unity navava.
Ana Chabangoro.
Vese zvavo ndo vanhu vamaiti tiite unity navanhu vakadai.
Bvunzai zvenyu mukoma.
Because it has make sense, Uncle Jesus. Inonzi ndanditori rangu masubmission ari kuitwa pa, and I've got my comment regarding to that. Allow me a little bit of time because those are more than kuzondidimbura kuti maheko. The first comment that I will pass is that bringing Chamisa's name into the precap debacle is very mischievous because these MPs, they defied Chamisa and they went to Parliament against his advice. If you recall, on the 25th of August, they blocked Nelson Chamisa on the premise that he's not an elected individual. And they went on to hold the parliamentary caucus, where Wende and Mafume and their team bullied the MP to go to Parliament against Chamisa's advice. That is not in the public domain, but that is what happened. Their reasoning was that they must not listen to an individual, but to an institution, which is CCC. And they went on to the Parliament on that basis. And it was all about themselves, and it was never about the citizens or the constitution or the institution itself. I will tell you reliably, with confidence, we had a meeting with two MPs. We called two MPs and we held a meeting with them. And we told them point blank that we were not happy with what they did and they continued to stay in the parliament because they were rubber stamping ZANU-PF policies and they were giving ZANU-PF legitimacy. They got angry and defended themselves through some funny justification. They were very angry and say, no, you need to understand that we'll be departing the arena of the struggle if we leave the parliament. That is where we engage with ZANU-PF. But we are like, you do not have the majority. You are just wasting your breath. And you are rubber stamping ZANU-PF policies and giving ZANU-PF legitimacy. This is what they are now being used for to justify 2030 agenda. So Chamisa resigned. And when he resigned, he issued 13-page statement. In that statement, there is no way that he announced that he appointed anyone to continue his mandate in the parliament or anywhere. And he clearly announced that he will return when he is ready and that he will announce his return. So those that will now claim to speak for him, they are lies. So these MPs, they stayed on, the one that stayed on in his name. They are feigning fake loyalty. If they were loyal, they were supposed to leave the parliament with Fadzaimair and Rafi Makam. I say so because of that list that is being paid out around saying elected under Chamisa, pro-Chamisa. They are not pro-Chamisa. If they were pro-Chamisa, they were supposed to leave the parliament. But they stayed on. We do not trust them. We will never trust them. We will never embrace them ever. No matter how firm they will appear and talk about unity, we are done with those MPs who stayed on and betrayed Nelson Chamisa in the name of preserving the constitutional and institutional values, which were fact. So, when we told you, but nobody wanted to listen. Because Kube is a byproduct of regional politics that were fostered by Workman Nube's camp. They are the one who demanded inclusion at the expense of the ailing Tabitha Kumalo. Her return was not endorsed by Nelson Chamisa. That's a lie. Coupe was fought on Chamisa by the same people that are handling Sengenzo Chabango. He has done it again. From nocturnal coup plotting meeting in Johannesburg with Christopher Mutsangwa to feeding the fish and pre-cap them and to this 23rd agenda endorsement. I can say Coupe has come to a full circle. And as opposition isusu kwa dinoro wa matumundo kwa dino manyera. Because we tell you to mnaite, but you still go ahead and endorse the very same person in the name of unity, fake unity. So these guys are setting up a narrative, like I said in the last space, that this is a 23rd agenda and a one-party state agenda. They are decimating the opposition. And on our watch, while we are busy debating here and analyzing and making analysis and taking no action, like what the Mozambicans are doing. This guy, Sengenzo Chabangu, is walking free in the street and no one touch him. How docile are we, Zimbabwe? Someone do conduct an atrocity on us in broad daylight, but the man is free to walk around and we do nothing. We even shake his hand and greet him. Chabangu, SG. We even dare call him SG when we meet him instead of giving him one varam clap. No one does that. The guy represents no one who elected Chabangu. He represents no one. He does not have a single constituency. And he's holding the MPs at ransom. And MPs, out of their greed, are capitulating because they are greedy. Right? Look at what happened today. The parliament itself is in violation of the constitution. Mudenda endorsed the 2030 as who? The man is supposed to be a neutral speaker of parliament, but he stands on the podium and endorses 2030 agenda. The speaker of parliament, who is supposed to uphold the neutrality of the state institution, goes on and endorses a partisan program and call for 2030, going against the constitution of the nation on our watch, and all we can do is talk. How weak are we? The speaker must be removed for flouting the constitution and going beyond his mandate as a neutral. That guy must be removed. He ignored the party leader, Nelson Chamisa, and entertained an imposter. After losing the court case, the last court case, why is Chabangu still being entertained and why is Mudenda still in parliament? No one wants to challenge that. We're all talking. Pre-cap meeting is a private event. We are meeting ED on his own personal capacity. I say so because there is no state protocol on a private property. It's a private property and there is no state protocol. So meeting EG at his own farm, you are now meeting him as a private individual called Emerson Mnangagwa. You need to learn to separate the president's office and the individual because the president's office is enshrined at the State House in the Monumutapa building. So if you go to say we are meeting the president at his own farm, which does not happen to be a state property, you are in violation and contravention of state protocols. That is unfortunate. So the president has got a parliament, he's got a state house to address the MP and government officials. If he really was sincere about meeting them, he was supposed to go to parliament and not to throw a package and a veneer of fake unity saying we are meeting a Zimbabwean at your farm. It's not a sanctioned venue. So he does not need to meet them at pre-cap. He was supposed to go to parliament. And the pre-cap meeting is a meeting of private individuals. It is an absolute waste of state resources. It's a violation. Right? It's a constitutional violation and a total disregard of state protocol and its institution. So pre-cap is an absolute waste of state resources. The farm is not a state property. It is an unsanctioned venue. So how do you observe protocol as someone's private property without getting expelled? That is why they were able to flaunt ZANU-PF regalia and chanting ZANU-PF slogan because it's a partisan program, and this does not justify him calling all the MP from across the political divide. and saying it is a state program, a state event. It was not. So pre-crib alone is the ground of impeachment and removal of the Speaker of Parliament. The impeachment of the president and the removal of Speaker of Parliament was it's a total violation of state protocol and total disregard of the citizens of Zimbabwe. So we as Zimbabweans, we have a duty to uphold our own constitution and demand accountability from these guys and say, this is not how we do things. Because you cannot challenge him on his own ground. So we need to start looking at what I said last time, defiance. You cannot go along with everything. Civil disobedience is necessary. This is what we as Zimbabweans need to start looking at.